Hello everyone, and welcome once again to beautiful East Tennessee. Today is Friday, August the 24th, 2018. It is exactly 1:40 in the afternoon, and it has been a full 3 weeks, since my last thrift store finds video. So I am due for another one. Hopefully this time I won't go a full 29 minutes. So without further ado, here is my famous co-host, Clatters, the Trash Panda. Take a bow, Clatters. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. You ready? Alright, here we go. Let's start with the DVDs. I got all of these when I was in Galax for the Old Fiddlers Convention. There was a store called Magic Mart that was going out of business, and so these are all brand new and still sealed. I got them at a steep discount. They all look like short-lived Saturday morning cartoons, so let's go over these. We've got a Ripley's Believe It or Not. I did not know. I know that Ripley had a little TV show, and he's got plenty of museums, but apparently he's also had a little cartoon. And then we've got 2 volumes of Cops. Yeah, I don't know if that would go nowadays with the cop brutality that has been in the news a lot recently. But there was a time when somebody thought it was a good idea to make a cartoon entitled Cops. And this really has nothing at all to do with the Police Academy cartoon that we're more familiar with. So it's going to be interesting to see what is on that. Then we got Wheeled Warriors. Warriors with wheels. Wonder why that one failed. And then a newer one called Stormhawks, which actually has some really pretty looking artwork on the back there. It's probably one of those that was like around the time of Slug Tana, where it looked cool, but the characters were very bland. It's the way it looks to me, at least. This one was kind of a curiosity buy. Scott and Dave's comedy music. I love comedy music. You guys have seen just how many Weird Al Yankovic CDs that I have in my collection. So maybe this will be something that was highlighted in Fump at some point. So there's that. And then I found this unopened pack of Frank Sinatra and Peter Lorre's black and white movies. And then there is this one, Pitch Black. Now, I love the Chronicles of Riddick. I love the sci-fi action, over-the-top hero. The whole trilogy, I've already bought it before, but when I found this one, this caught my eye. Right here at the top, this is actually the unrated director's cut. So, and it actually still has its original sleeve, so I had to pick that up. It was really cheap, and I'm interested to see how it's different than the other release. And then we've got Tango and Cash, which I've heard referred to a lot, and looking at the front cover, you can understand what made it so popular. It's got Sly Stallone and Kurt Russell from Big Trouble in Little China fame and Escape from New York. So the two of them together in an action movie that actually has made a name for itself. I can't see me not having a good time watching that movie. And then, this is another curiosity buy. Turtles Can Fly. No, they can't. Sounds like something from UHF. But looking at the back of it, we've got a kid sitting on top of the end of a tank, and there's a bunch of other little kids over here. I am not going to read the description. I'm just going to unwrap it and put it in and enjoy figuring out what it's about. And then we got this one, Bill. And I don't know, it looks like a romantic comedy from the pictures on the back again. I am not going to read the description. And then we got Moulin Rouge. Now you guys know that I've got Hello Dolly and Oklahoma, and now Moulin Rouge. I still need to find a good copy of Les Miserables before I'll have a true marathon-worthy set of musicals that I haven't seen yet. And then, as far as movies that took very obvious inspiration from The Matrix, this one, Equilibrium, sporting the Spider-Man lettering across the front, is actually very, very entertaining. I've seen it before, now I have it in physical form. Woohoo! Then we have Chasing Amy. Kevin Smith from Clerks fame went on to make, what was his second movie? I think it was Dogma, that kind of flopped. And so he went back to the basics and made Chasing Amy, which actually made him some money. And so this was part of the ups of Kevin Smith's ups and downs, and I haven't seen it yet. Of course, now with Kevin Smith's association with Funko Pops, I'm sure he's probably not hurting for money at all. Probably doesn't need to make another hit movie ever again. Unfortunately, we all would have liked to have seen another one, right? Then we got Charlie Sheen and Men at Work, and this was a at least mildly funny movie that Charlie Sheen made back when he still had his full charisma before he went crazy and got himself his famous STD. He's pulling himself back out of the gutter, guys. I still like Charlie Sheen. I feel like he's still got another comeback in him. Then we got Reefer Madness. This came from back in the 30s when they were campaigning hard to keep marijuana illegal and off the streets, and they wanted to portray it as a type of drug that would make you go mad. It would give you a reefer madness, and you would go on an angry, blind rampage. Which is funny that they would actually come up with this, because as we know nowadays, that is quite the polar opposite of what happens to people that use marijuana. But they really campaigned it hard in the 1930s. I'm not sure exactly what their motivation was. Some people have said it was because it was going to take away from the tobacco farmers, and there was a vested interest there. But it's kind of funny that we would see Reefer Madness from the 30s when I am getting a good night's sleep every night now with the use of CBD oil. I am not condoning the recreational use of marijuana, guys. Don't take that away from what I'm saying here. I'm just saying I want to see this. Oh, and if I remember right, I actually saw a story once that this movie actually helped popularize the use of marijuana. There's a lot of people that watched this movie back in the 30s, and when they saw the trippy reactions people were having to using marijuana, they said, I think I gotta try that. So it actually did the opposite of what they intended. Moving right along to the movie that really spawned a lot of controversy, and they said it was made too soon after 9/11 because it portrayed a lot of crumbling buildings and destruction in New York City. But this was a kaiju monster that was breaking up New York City, and done in a found footage form. I've actually watched it since I bought it, and I'm impressed. This is actually a really, really well done movie. Then District 9. I have only ever caught like the first 20 minutes of this and then fallen asleep. It drags a little bit, but I think if I was to actually give it a good chance, it will probably be pretty good. And then Uncle Buck, and this one is sealed. I'm not sure exactly how I found it at a pawn shop, still sealed, and it has John Candy right on the front. I mean, who owned this? It didn't open it. John Candy is awesome. That's why I bought it. Okay, and then we got Artificial Intelligence. And I just kind of wanted to get this because I wanted to see how bad it was. Jason X. This movie is quite the guilty pleasure for me. I love spaceships and science fiction, and this one mixes Jason Voorhees into the mix and actually upgrades him in like nanotechnology and upgrades him somewhere in the middle of the movie. And I love Jason X. I have not watched any of the other Jason Voorhees movies, but this one I saw part of it on TV, and I had to get the DVD and finish it out. And when I saw this, I picked it up, and I've watched it since then, and I absolutely, guilty pleasure, love this movie. It's total dribble, but so entertaining to watch. And then, this is a video game movie that I actually haven't watched yet, as much as I love video games, and I search for video game movies that are actually good. I found this one, haven't watched it yet. I'm hoping I can put it on that very short stack of good video game movies. Speaking of which, I did find the first Street Fighter movie, and I've watched it, and it's good! It's actually good! A good video game-based movie, so I can put this one on the very short stack, along with Ratchet and Clank, and the very first Mortal Kombat movie, so this makes number 3. It's a shame. It's a total shame that there's not more video game movies that are good. I feel like there could be if they actually worked hard on them. And then I found another Punisher movie. This will be the third one. I didn't know this one existed. The first one had Dolph Lundgren in it. The second one, I can't remember who the main character was, but I remember it had John Travolta as the main villain. This makes number 3 featured movie with the Punisher. At some point, I am going to watch all 3 and do a whole video about which one is the best. So now I've got the third one. And then we've got the Beverly Hills Chihuahua. And I've actually heard a lot of even adults say that they like this movie. It's one of those little cult movies that was meant for kids, but then turned into a cult movie that a lot of people like. And I'm going to get to find out why. Moving on to VHSs, we have a Yuma. Now, not to be confused with 310 to Yuma. This is just Yuma. And so I got it on VHS. It looked good. So there we go. And then we've got Paul Hogan from Crocodile Dundee fame. And one of the other, very few other movies that he acted in, not as Crocodile Dundee. This one is called Lightning Jack. And it is some kind of like old western outlaw movie. And so that actually does it for the movies. Woo! Okay, moving on to the audio finds. All I found this time was a single audiobook, and this one is called Ya-Ya's in Bloom, and it was written by a woman named Rebecca Wells. I haven't read the description, but I know I saw this as an in-cap seller in the bookstores for a while, and it's nice and thick. So I'm just going to put it in on a long road trip, listen to the whole thing, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts on it, do a little review on it. That's, you know, remind me if I can think to do that. Moving on to comics, I actually found some comics this time at a antique store, believe it or not. And the thing that really caught my eye in this box was Turok, which you guys will probably recognize as a first-person shooter video game series that started on the N64, but apparently it actually started well before that as a comic book series. So now if I do a review on the Turok video games, I can have this to mention the previous history of Turok before even the video game started. So that's a nice thing to have and going to be fun to read. You got the Invisible Man. Hopefully this will correspond to the Universal Monsters Universal Studios movie that I found a few weeks ago, if y'all guys will remember. And I got this one because it has an airship on the front, and I am steampunk. And then we got Jack the Giant Killer, and I think this one actually corresponds to a movie that had a really cool MST3K riff track, too. And if you guys don't know, Jack and the Beanstalk was technically a Jack the Giant Killer story, and it's a series of folklore stories that covers a lot of other giants' deaths, not just the ones at the top of the beanstalk. Moving on to video games. Whee! Yes, video games. Starting with the PlayStation 2, you got Shell Shocked, a kind of generic army third-person shooter. Gauntlet, and this is one that actually goes for about 15 bucks when it has the manual and case with it. This one was a little bit scratched, and it's just the disc, so I got it for free. Whee! Free. And then I've got Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. This one is more popularly recognized on the Wii, but it did, in fact, get a PS2 release. A little bit rare, still very, very cheap. Now I've got both versions. We've got Hot Shots. Which one is this? Hot Shots 4. It's a nice little play on words. It's a comical golf game. And then Hot Shots 3. So I think I've got all 4 of them now. I don't know for certain because I'm terrible about cataloging my games, but I'm pretty sure I've got all 4. And then we got Combat Elite, and I wanted to get this one because I loved Commandos, and looking at some of the description on the back, it looks like they are taking some of the same kind of gameplay from Commandos. So now I've got the Commandos trilogy, and I've got Combat Elite as the spiritual successor. So that's really cool to have. And then I found a single PC game, and this one's more of a recent PC game because it uses, what does it say, Windows XP and Vista 7. It's 2 spine-tingling adventures. The first one is called Farm Mystery, The Happy Orchard Nightmare. And the second one is called Committed Mystery at Shady Pines. So kind of like these little spooky games, but it looks like there are a lot of like point and click, kind of like follow the clues and figure out puzzles kind of thing. So that was nice to get for only $2. Moving on to the PlayStation 3, and I had a real score with the PlayStation 3. Got a bunch of them, and this is one called Cross Edge X. I think it's a tactics RPG type anime game. And then we've got a dungeon crawler called Dragon's Dogma, which I loved dungeon crawlers for the PlayStation 2 and still have not found a good one that really sucks me in like the Champions of Norath did. Maybe this one will do it, but it was really cheap, hopefully. And then we've got Aqua Plaza, which I actually heard Radical Reggie mention this on his channel as being a really good 2D fighter made for the modern systems. So I had to pick that up, and like I said, it was dirt cheap from a pawn shop that was willing to really bring the price down because those have been sitting there for a while. Apparently, there's not a lot of people going to pawn shops buying PS3 games anymore. We got Blaze Blue. This one is another 2D fighter for the PlayStation 3. It was right there with Aqua Plaza, so somebody brought them in probably at the same time. We got Wolfenstein: The New Order. Still have not completely worked through that Wolfenstein that I've been playing on the 360, but I think this is the next one after it, and I have it ready to go. And then we've got Record of Agrest War 0. Yeah, well, it looks like a very action-packed type RPG game from the pictures on the back. Maybe I'll like it. Then moving on to one of my favorite systems to collect for, the Wii U. Just recently, GameStop started a little sale where they were selling buy two, get one free. So I got a few of the cheaper ones because it's GameStop. Even their cheap prices are kind of high compared to a lot of used video game stores. But hey, with the Pro membership and the sale, I think I got a good price on these. I got Rayman Legends. Rayman Legends. And then Bayonetta 2. So I've got 1 and 2 now, and I've heard tell that this one controls much better. And then I got Tekken Tag Team Tournament Wii U Edition. So I love the Tekken on the PlayStation 2. I haven't played a whole lot of the other ones since then, but now I got this one dirt cheap. So moving on to the cartridge games. I'm watching you. I'm watching you. We're not going to go throw in my cartridge games again. We got Lego Island 2. Whoa. I know he's got a skateboarder on the front and you don't like skateboarders. Yeah, knocking over the trash can while you're in there. I get it, okay? You're not doing that again. There is a very common Lego Island game for the Game Boy Advance, and I'm not sure exactly how Lego Island 2 ended up on the Game Boy Color, which was a console that came before the Game Boy Advance. But who am I to question? It was cheap, and I really loved the other game. Hopefully, this one will be fun to play as well. And then I got a memory card for the PlayStation 2. This one is a measly 16 megabytes, but it was like $1. Then we got Star Wars Shadow of the Empire. I haven't heard a whole lot of positive about this, but hey, it's Star Wars, and it's the N64. And then the only one that I got for the original PlayStation this time, this one's called Plucky's Big Adventure. I don't think it's very good, but I own it now. Moving on to video game accessories, I found this at a little flea market for dirt cheap. It's a set for Skylanders. It comes with the card, some of the accessories, and then for some reason a blue Spyro with a sword attached to his tail. Hopefully one day I'll be able to put that to some good use. And then I got this off of eBay. It's not really a thrift store find, but a really cool thing nonetheless. It's Bluetooth controllers that attach to the sides of the tablet. So I do have a tablet that this will work with, and I'm interested to see just how responsive these things are. And then, pawn shop find, a plug and play that I did not have This one is the Shrek, and it has the little Shrek ears on the sides of the joystick. Seems like it would get in the way of your fingers, but whatever. It's one that I didn't have. It's a little worn. Doesn't even have the screw to hold the battery cover in place, but I have it now. It's cheap. Then from the same Magic Mart where I bought all those sealed Saturday morning failed cartoons, I got a few other things brand new in the box. This one is Comfort Grips, made by Dream Gear. That was really nice to find. I definitely need it. And then I found a Wii sensor bar, and this one actually advertises right here in a reflective sticker that it is compatible with the Wii U, which is funny because any Wii sensor bar is compatible with the Wii U. It's kind of well, it's truth in advertisement. It is compatible, even though all sensor bars are compatible. Whatever. A couple of little trinkets. I got this little character from the TAC video game series, and then I got this little keychain and the little stand that she comes with, and this is a character from Overwatch. And from the same flea market, I got a $5 N64. It doesn't have the expansion pack or the audio-video outputs, but it was only $5, and these are solid state. They're pretty much no moving parts on them, so they pretty much always work. I haven't really found one yet that is not working, and even though this is the boring gunmetal gray one, I think it was worth $5. And the very last thing, the biggest thing, this was something I actually bought from Anthony, one of Anthony's family members out in Galax. Hefting it up here. We have a Fisher-Price I Can Play keyboard, and look at this. It is a plug and play. Yes. So this attaches to a TV screen and will give you lessons and help you learn. And you can see right there at the very top. Go ahead and point at it. Yeah, okay. There, right there at the very top, it actually has a cartridge in it. And I'm sure there's other cartridges I could find to get other songs that I could learn on this. But it actually came with the power supply. And you guys have all heard, if you're into the retro singing at all, you've all heard of the Magic Keyboard for the NES. There's probably not much of a chance that I'll ever have one of those, but I do have something that might be just as good. The Fisher-Price I Can Play keyboard, complete with cartridge and power supply. Thank you, Anthony, for selling this to me. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it, and hopefully one day I'll be able to make a nice, entertaining video for you guys with this as well. And that is everything. All right. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little thrift store finds video. Please, if you did, please don't forget to smash that like button. Leave comments, leave questions, leave suggestions, leave requests. Share this vlog around with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and ding that bell icon to receive notifications. I love you all very much, and I will see you again in the next video. Take a bow one last time there. Clatters, the Trash Panda.